And welcome back to Lantern Corps. Today's Lantern Corps comes to us from, and by the way, I am not playing catch up. I did have, because it's Tuesday and still February, I had one more Lantern Corps before I went into the other phase of the week, every other month scheduled ones, the Quark and the Digimon video. Anyway, this comes to us from Marcus Kane, who asked the question, what is Killua from Hunter x Hunter's Lantern Corps? I have not finished Hunter x Hunter. But I started. I'm like on volume I think 6 or 7 of Hunter x Hunter. So I'm actually fairly into Hunter x Hunter. And I've seen bits and pieces from the later parts of the series as well. So while I don't have a 100% guaranteed grasp on this guy, I have a pretty solid foundation. I know that even though he learned some lessons, grows a little bit, the core of who he is from the beginning of the series to the end doesn't really change. And if anyone wants to argue that with me, you are more than welcome to. But this is my video, so up yours, anyone who says you shouldn't do a video on a character that you've never done. I still get that to this day. I get so it's less as I've gone on through this process of who would wins, what ifs, all that. It has lessened. But it's no less annoying when you get one of those people who doesn't understand that you can't know everything about everything, but you want to try to honor as many people's wishes for their suggestions and their hobbies and stuff like that as you can. And it's just always annoying when you get that one person saying, you shouldn't do this if you know nothing about this character, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, and you're the freaking Einstein of it. You know everything about everything. Because you are the de facto knowledge center of this character and have the right to judge other people. Great. Awesome. Moving on. So when breaking it down, honestly, this was another one of those pretty easy ones. Let's just get out of the way a bunch of the ones we know we can't qualify for. He has not been happy his whole life. He comes off as a pretty chill dude and a pretty casual dude, but he's not been particularly happy or positive his whole life. In fact, he actually gets pretty negative a lot of the time. So Gold's out. Shame, upon thinking about it, could work, but he's never really had a lot of shame to him. He's calculating. He thinks things through. He also comes from a family of assassins, but whether or not he feels shame about that or about maybe not fitting in like the rest of them, I don't think that counts either. He's certainly not a life lantern, as he has taken a lot of lives. Death's an odd one, because he very much does enjoy, to some extent, killing, but it's not who he really is, ultimately. Oh, did you get yourself a choo-choo? Sorry, my dog's just like, it's a snow day, I'm going to be inside, so I need a choo-choo. But I really don't think I'd count death. Just because a lot of people kill people in animes doesn't mean they qualify for death. You have to not just kill people. You need to kill a lot of people, and B, actually pretty much worship at the altar of death. That's why someone like Thanos could be a Death Lantern while still being alive, because he literally was in love with the embodiment of death. So yeah, Hope. I really don't see him being a Hope Lantern either. Not to say that he's hopeless in terms of his outlook, but he's not. He's also not like, hey, don't worry, we can do this. He's not Gone. Gone would probably be closer to a Hope Lantern than he is by a long margin, a long shot. So no Hope. One of the Lantern Corps that he would qualify for, I think it's boring, but it's will. You have to overcome great fear and have great will. He has this in spades. You're not indoctrinated. You're not born to a family of assassins without having to overcome the great fear that these assassins bring, and having great willpower either. So will, I think it has to be on the list. Ones that aren't necessarily on the list, though. Star Sapphire isn't really on the list. This is due to the fact that he's not really in love with anyone, or love is not what motivates him. So you can't call him a Star Sapphire. Compassion, I don't think he qualifies as compassion, and the reason for that is that, again, it needs to be your dominant emotion. It needs to be attracted, for the ring to be attracted to you, or you need to be completely devoid of it. Like no empathy, no apathy, no nothing. Well, apathy is different, but no empathy, nothing, no understand, compassion. You need to like maybe revel in people's pain um, instead of feeling bad for someone or trying to understand them. But Killua, despite how he's a bit more mature than say Gon is, and comes from again a family of assassins, is still able to understand and feel some level of compassion for people. He's not devoid of it. He's not what was it? Oh God, was it Joker or God? Again, dog. Okay, seriously. This is your third time going out. Peepees and poo poops. Come on. Uh, Sorry, and because I think it's because of the weather. We just had a big storm come through. What's the guy's name? The jester character whose name I am forgetting right now. But yeah, he might qualify as a lantern of compassion because he's devoid of it pretty much. Anyway, so yeah, and then that leaves us down to only like one or two, and only one of the other ones really qualifies, and that would be fear. I don't think he qualifies as a rage lantern, not because he doesn't have anger. He clearly had some anger, particularly some resentment towards his brother. But it's just not something that dominates him. He's pretty in control of it. Whereas fear, I think, yeah, even for someone so young and he's extremely powerful, extremely dangerous in his world. And I think he could strike fear into individuals. But from the little I remember, that wasn't always the case. So my go-to logic, as boring as the core would be a lantern core of will. And this is just because compared to the fear lantern, he's still just a kid. Therefore, people aren't going to be immediately afraid of him. Now he can, instill fear into someone. That's completely up for grabs. But in terms of being afraid of someone or just instilling fear right from the get, no. And because of that, I think the Lantern Corps will would be the more likely candidate between the two. So that is my thoughts on what Lantern Corps Killua from Hunter x Hunter belongs in. But let me know what you think. Do you think this works as his Lantern Corps? Do you think any of the other 9? Do you think any of the other 9 would work? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next. Oh, and by the way, I don't think he's greedy enough to be greedy. Actually, I realized I skipped over greed completely. He doesn't have that level of ambition or desire or anything like that. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later for the speed round who would win.